Salt and Light Radio, celebrating 15 years of Catholic radio. KGEM 1140 AM and 102.3 FM Boise. KTFI 1270 AM and 101.7 FM Twin Falls. KZSB 89.3 FM Ketchum Sun Valley. And KRIF 88.3 FM and HD1 Rockford, Idaho Falls.
It's an exciting morning show on Salt and Light Radio. It's time to start your day the Catholic way. Morning Light is 1 hour of live local information and interviews, along with news, traffic, weather, and sports from the Treasure and Magic Valleys. The Salt and Light Catholic Radio Network now presents Morning Light with your hosts Brian Howell and Hope Ryan.
Good morning to you as we broadcast live from the St. Gabriel studio. Welcome to another wonderful Wednesday edition of Morning Light, this one on September 3rd. And who do we have coming up today?
Today, we have Faith and Feast with Teresa Zepeda. We have Pat King here. He is in his man cave. And finally, Carol Brown with a new segment called The Spotlight, keeping you up to date on what is happening behind the scenes here at Salt and Light Radio.
And there is plenty happening, indeed.
Holy moly. There's so much.
Pray for your priest today for Father Constant Swai. He is the pastor at St. Bridget's in Bruno and Our Lady of Limerick in Glens Ferry, which is a delightful little parish. Mm-hmm. You blink, you miss it, but it is it's so cute. And pray for vocations this week for the Sisters of St. Joseph up in Lewiston.
Today is the feast of St. Gregory the Great, Pope and Doctor of the Church, known for his reform of the liturgy and for strengthening respect for doctrine. We'll learn more about the patron saint of teachers and musicians a little later in the show.
Very good. It is currently 66 degrees in Boise. It's 59 in Twin Falls. Grangeville checking in with 65. Idaho Falls waking up to 51 degrees.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Dear God, thank you for the example of the saints. I desire to join their company, worshiping you forever in heaven. Please help me follow their footsteps. And yours, dear Jesus. Please help me to conform myself to your image, seeking your will in all things, as the saints did. Please help me to devote myself and all that I do to your glory and to the service of my neighbors. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and the Son,
and the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Traffic and weather are right after this.
Are you struggling to find a way to spread the news about your upcoming event and reach more of the Catholic community? Salt and Light Radio would love to support your effort. Click the Public Service Announcement tab at our website, saltandlightradio.com, and we can help you design, record, and produce some fantastic public service announcements. And best of all, they're free. Salt and Light Catholic Radio. Change your station, change your life.
Support for Salt and Light Radio's Idaho Catholic Women's Conference comes from Valiant sponsor Catholic Charities of Idaho. Bishop Peter Christensen invites you to one night of celebration to honor 25 years of impact. It's the Harvest of Hope Gala Dinner on Saturday, October 25th at Chateau de Fleur in Eagle, beginning at 5:30 p.m. Let us gather in gratitude and help support the invaluable work of Catholic Charities of Idaho. Purchase your tickets now at ccidaho.org/gala.
This is Sister Beverly from Marymount Hermitage in Mesa, Idaho. Jubilee Guest House is magnificently furnished and operative now. Open house for the public will be Saturday and Sunday, September 6th and 7th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. No reservations are required. Just visit those days during those times. Saturday and Sunday, September 6th and 7th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. God bless you.
Good morning, light traffic. If you're on 10 Mile heading north to the freeway, there's a crash just beyond Victory. It's in the right-hand lane of northbound 10 Mile. So keep that in mind if you are trying to get on the freeway coming from the south. Um, 55 in Nampa, very slow. Even when you get on the freeway there at 55, very slow. North side slow. Just the whole thing is a little bit of a crawl on this Wednesday morning, especially there at 10 miles. So please use care. That's your morning light traffic.
Partly cloudy through Friday across the Treasure Valley, highs mid-90s, lows upper 60s. Magic Valley, partly cloudy for the next few days. Afternoon highs 90 to 95, lows 60 to 65. Mostly sunny through Friday across eastern Idaho, with highs 80 to 85 and overnight lows around 50. And Camas Prairie, you can expect mostly sunny skies the next few days, highs 90 to 95 with lows near 60. 61 in Fruitland, Rupert 56 degrees. It's also 56 degrees in Pocatello.
Transform your life into a joyful celebration of our faith by observing the long list of feasts on the liturgical calendar. Morning Light brings you faith and feasts with Teresa Zepeda, providing you with ideas on how to turn ordinary activities into supernatural opportunities.
7:05 Morning Light continues across the Salt and Light Catholic Radio Network. It is time once again for Faith and Feasts. And joining us via Zoom, it's Teresa Zepeda, here to kick off a wonderful Wednesday. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, her microphone's off. Whoops.
Good morning.
There you are. Good morning. Well, we've got some heavy hitters on the liturgical calendar over the next 7 days. Let's talk about some of these saints and ways we can celebrate them.
Every week it seems like I say, oh my gosh, the week ahead. It's such power packed. And, Holy Mother Church was not stingy when she distributed the celebrations. So I'm going to sort of skip ahead, and hopefully I'll have time to come back and hit all the others. But I'm doing so because this Sunday we have a very special celebration in the Universal Church. It will be the canonization, the long-awaited canonization of Blessed Carlo Acutis and Blsd Pier Georgio Frassati. I say long-awaited because, of course, they were originally scheduled for Divine Mercy Sunday this past spring, but because of the death of Pope Francis, it all got transferred. But I hope all of those young pilgrims, any pilgrim who was on their way last April, are able to make it this Sunday. For those of us who will be staying home, we can still celebrate these two soon-to-be saints. And what marvelous saints they are. God's timing is perfect. And he's raising up two very young saints. So a great inspiration for the youth. I did a show. You can find it on our audio archives, all local programming in 2020 when Carlo was beatified. And it was a very emotional show. But so I've covered a lot of information about him, and it won't be duplicated today, so not all of it anyway. So if you can and you feel the call, you can go back and listen to more of that. But I'm going to first kind of briefly talk about these two saints just to let us know who they are. So Carlo was born in 1991, and he was raised in Milan, Italy. From a very young age, he had an extraordinary love for Jesus and Mary. His mom called him his mom called him her little savior, because she had only been to Mass 3 times in her life up to that point. Oh, wow. Although she was Catholic. And he had such an extraordinary love for Jesus that he would pull her and his dad into the church to make visits to Jesus. He would pick flowers to put them at the feet of the statue of Our Lady. As he grew, so did his devotion. He received his first communion at 7, which they had to get special permission because in their parish it was 10. Once he received his communion at 7, he recited the rosary daily as well as went to Mass, daily Mass. He was an extremely bright child. He had mastered the computer at the age of 6. He, I think by the age of 9, he had taught himself computer programming, learning from some of the college or university computer textbooks. He was single-minded. his whole life was focused on forming a relationship with Jesus. He wanted to be united with Jesus. That was his primary goal. And he orchestrated his life in that way. He used his gift to promote his love for Jesus in the Eucharist. It troubled him that he would see lines of people trying to get to a movie, and yet there was no one in line to visit the Blessed Sacrament. And he thought that had to be because of a lack of knowledge or understanding. So he created the website of Eucharistic miracles, documenting all of them, allowing people to download them for free. In fact, Salt and Light Radio has created banners of some of those miracles, and they have traveled through and visited the churches of our diocese. He was working on one of the apparitions of Our Lady when he died. His love for Jesus extended then to the love of those people around him. He was a great classmate. He served the poor. He volunteered with his mother to serve the poor. He would save up his spending money to buy, for example, sleeping bags for the poor. He converted those who were around him to the Catholic faith. He went to confession regularly, and he had a journal where he jotted down the good progress he was making, as well as where he needed to improve. On October 2nd, in 2006, when he was 15 years old, he came down with what they thought was the flu. It became so severe that he ended up entering the hospital, and October 12th, he ended up dying of a very caused by a very aggressive form of leukemia. When he was dying, he offered up his pain for the church and Pope Benedict, who was the Pope at the time. And he told his mom, I die happy because I did not spend my life wasting time on things that are not pleasing to God. And his feast day is October 12th, the day he died. Now, Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati was born in 1901 in Italy. The Frassati family was very wealthy and very influential family. And again, like Carlo, he had a love for the Eucharist and Our Lady. He was a college student, majoring in mining engineering. But he saw his wealth also as a way of serving God. And he served the poor, he served the sick, he did it quietly and unassumingly. In fact, most of his family did not know he was doing this, and the people who he was serving had no idea who he was. He used most of his spending money, again, on the poor. He was a daily communicant and an active participant in the Marian Solidarity, the Apostleship of Prayer, the St. Vincent de Paul Society, the Catholic Student Formation, and Catholic Action and the People's Party. He loved mountain climbing, art and music, and attending the theater and opera. When he was 24, he fell ill with polio, which the doctors believe he contracted from serving those around him, the poor around him. His grandmother was dying at the time, and so all the attention was on her, as well as his attention on her. And so he rather neglected the illness, and he died suddenly on July 4th, 1925, at the age of 24. The poor people who attended his funeral were shocked to finally find out who this man was, as well as his family was shocked to see what he had done. Pope John Paul II beatified him, calling him the man of the Beatitudes. And one of his most quotable lines is Verso l'alto, which he wrote on the back of a picture of his last mountain climb, which means towards the top. And again, someone else who was focused on the higher and better things. And his feast day is July 4th, which is somewhat disappointing to us Americans because we're so focused on Independence Day. But every July 4th now think, oh my gosh, it's Pier Giorgio Frassati's. But that next July 4th, we'll be calling him Saint Pier Giorgio Frassati.
So we could maybe have Italian food instead of hot dogs and burgers on the 4th of July.
Right. Grill your meatballs.
Maybe anticipate or sometime around there. But speaking of Italian food, I want to suggest quick ways to celebrate the canonization. Celebrate doing what they loved. Besides, of course, loving Jesus and Mary, we want to do that too, follow their example. Carlo loved Pokemon. He loved video games. He loved spending time with his pets. My grandchildren love Pokemon and video games. And so I'm going to tell their mother, let them play in honor of Saint Carlo. But, and he loved Nutella, so you can maybe have that on your toast in the morning. He loved ice cream, maybe have that for dessert. But Pier Giorgio actually wrote a letter where he shared a recipe for pasta. He would have pronounced it tagliatelle. Probably I pronounced that incorrectly. Sorry, Pierre. We call it tagliatelle. But in December 20th, 1921, in a letter to Maria Fischer, an Austrian student who he met at the Pax Romana conference in Ravenna, he says, and I quote, he wrote, I should say, now I shall keep my promise and send you the recipe for tagliatella. And he said, 700 grams of white flour, 3/4 liter of tepid salted water, and 1 egg. You pile the flour on a board, make a well, then add the liquids and combine. The instructions on how to make it are correct. The ingredients are all wrong. The executive director of Frassati USA says she speculates the error came from the fact that he didn't make the noodles in the family. He probably just enjoyed them, probably watched. And back in those days, you cooked by feel and eye. That looks like about 700 grams of flour. Yeah. So I would suggest do not use his recipe. Use another recipe. We will be making here we call it tagliatelle. We will be making tagliatelle using our own recipe. If you cannot get tagliatelle, the fettuccine is about the same. The differences are so negligible. So maybe buy yourself some fettuccine and make some tagliatelle or fettuccine in honor of Pier Giorgio Frassati. And he liked to have a cup of espresso, especially when cramming for exams. So you might want to have some espresso on that day. And he also liked chocolate. So there you go, a great feast. And I think I've exhausted all the time, and I apologize to the other great saints.
No, it's wonderful because my birthday's next week. And so we were going to celebrate birthdays over the weekend. And I was like, no, all birthdays are off because we've got a canonization and it'll be so, so great.
Yes.
Such a delight. Such a delight.
All right, Teresa. Well, we will catch up with you next week then. Thank you so much. God bless. And let's celebrate this weekend.
Right. So on your shopping list, Nutella, fettuccine.
Yeah, start making that list now. All right, we'll catch up with you next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
In the pew or in the park, sun, rain, or snow, virtual or in person, our Catholic community has events for every reason of the season. Salt and Light Radio likes to highlight these events in a weekly Monday e-newsletter we like to call Spotlight. It's a short listing of community events for the week. Be in the know of activities in the Catholic community to strengthen your faith and grow. To sign up, go to saltandlightradio.com and click on the Spotlight.
Support for Salt and Light Radio comes from Beacon of Light member Excello Overhead Door Company. Whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, Excello Overhead Door Company is a local family-owned and operated company, proudly serving the Treasure Valley and surrounding areas for over 40 years. To learn more, the website is excellodoor.com and the phone number 208-323-1400. That's 208-323-1400. Excello Overhead Door Company. We sell the best and fix the rest. Catholic Charities of Idaho is celebrating 25 years of serving Idahoans in need. Bishop Peter Christensen invites you to one night of celebration to honor 25 years of impact. It's the Harvest of Hope Gala and Dinner, Saturday, October 25th at Chateau de Fleur in Eagle, beginning at 5:30 p.m. Let us gather in gratitude and help support the invaluable work of Catholic Charities of Idaho. Learn more and purchase your tickets now at ccidaho.org/gala.
Kick off your work boots and pull up a boulder. Morning Light now presents Pat King and Man Cave, discussing the issues that affect Catholic men in today's culture.
7:20. Morning Light rolls on across the Salt and Light Catholic Radio Network on this wonderful Wednesday. Pat King joining us here in the St. Gabriel studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to thank the lady that wrote a letter. I mean, handwritten. No, it was typed.
It was typed.
Well,
Hand typed.
hand typed. Yeah. Probably used
Not AI.
Yeah.
Generated from the heart.
The old IBM Selectrix
Yeah, because
is what she used.
I don't think Jet.
That's so great. I can smell the typing class.
Yep, that was great.
Where's the tennis coach?
I actually got kicked out of typing class.
ASDFJKL.
It was an elective. I had more than enough to graduate with, and I had to fill the spot, right? So I took typing, and it was my first class in the morning, but I worked at a restaurant as a cook till 1 or 2 in the morning, And so it was very hard to get up and show up. And then because I was slow, she took me off the electric and put me on the manual one, which if you look at these fingers, they aren't designed for typing the ones you ever have to drive the key down,
No.
I mean, I could barely strike the paper. I had such short fingers, It's like, so I
Funny.
just lost interest, and now I just hunt and peck with, I'm pretty good with 2 fingers,
The red
man.
fox jumps over the lazy dog, you know.
Now-
Brown dog.
And after a while, I would get it memorized, and then it was just muscle memory. I was like 55 words a minute. I was one of the top of my class. Yeah, but that's not why you're here today, to
No,
talk about
that's
typing.
not.
What did the letter say?
Well, the letter was talking about the subject we talked about last week. That actually I got several accolades from other people that listen to the show. Is like, you were awfully brave to talk about something that everybody thinks about but no one wants to bring up.
Right.
And they said they thought I did a very good job of being gentle and genuine about it, and because I've been through all these issues, both on with raising them myself and then dealing with people that I watched them deteriorate their lives over an animal.
Yeah.
And so she thought I did a very good job, and she talked about a friend whose life was probably harmed by all the animals they had in the house, and exacerbated her husband's passing from COPD.
Wow.
And cat dander,
Yeah.
bird dander, all the animals, all the feces, all the flies, all the stuff they bring in and out. Did not. I mean, we had pretty much a clean room for our son. He was on. He had breathing tubes all the time, so he was on oxygen all the time. So all we can do is whoever wrote that. She didn't mention her name or anything like that, but thank you for the letter. And so what I would recommend is that you regularly pray for her. I mean, prayer and fasting for her, because she's lost. I believe she's lost. The Cindy friend you talk about, I believe she just doesn't know where to turn, and you are probably the only source she has of comfort.
Yeah.
And I think if you even tell her, hey, I said a rosary for you today, or pray regularly, pray with her on the phone, try to get her to come to Mass. If she's Catholic or not, doesn't matter. Bring her to Mass. Bring her to places of comfort to where she can at least get a little bit of experience of hope of something else that is greater than the thing that's taking. To me, I'm sorry, but to me, it's taking her life away.
And I think a lot of it comes from isolation and loneliness, that they're looking for something to fill that gap. And as we've talked about for years on this program, how we have this God-shaped hole in our heart, and that's the only thing that's going to fill it, not pets and animals.
Well, I'll tell you, when my family fell apart and I was going through all that, I had this yearning, this thing that was driving me to anger was the thing that I was seeking and I wasn't finding because I wasn't looking in the right places. You know, ego has a tendency to keep you from doing what you're being called to do because I know better. Yeah, I learned that ain't true. Let me tell you. So, you know, and so once I heard that call and said, okay, I submit, I give up. I'm going to let you drive me.
Yeah.
Once I started doing that, the doors that open, the sense of freedom, and having a good priest like Father Flores. I love you, Father Flores. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus. Yes, I did. Never mind. I did.
Last week.
Yeah, you deserved it. I still am traumatized by it, let me tell you. But my life has become, I am not hanging around hardly anybody that I was hanging around with 10, 12 years ago. I'm not doing the things I was doing 10, 12 years ago. I'm not even as excited about doing certain things that I'd love to do for years 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I have found so much more fulfillment and satisfaction. In fact, this is what I was tossing and turning about because what has driven this show, and now I don't know if you've told anybody what's going on in the future, but I'm being fired. No. No, we're restructuring the program so that more people in different areas of the state, not just central, it's not just me, it's not all about me, can have a say in the men's movement, men's ministry on topics and things. But so I won't be on every week. He said, as Brian says, occasionally. We'll see what that means. As I throw Brian under the bus here. I have no problem. I've been fired, so what can I say?
Yeah, right.
So you brought a little purple book with you. What is
well,
this
no,
little purple
this
book?
was just so I'm the faith formation director of our
yes.
council,
Right.
and we're putting out some religious books, domestic family stuff, and the narthex. We've got priests now that are wanting to encourage us to do more of that stuff, and so the Knights are going to fund a bunch of books to be put out on display, and I'm just looking through the catalog and what we want to put out there. So that's my job as a Knight.
Wonderful.
But that brings me to the point of what has driven me in the last 10 years. You know, initially I tell people this all the time. I never wanted to be a Knight. I thought they were all just business. They were all poker players, drinking beer, and every now and then got dressed up in fancy outfits and
With the feathered hats.
With the feathered hats and all that. And that's all they did. But let me tell you, I was rudely awakened by all the things they get into and how many things you can, if you want, volunteer for. And so I am now I have been for the last 3 years. I'm going actually tomorrow morning. I'm leaving for New Haven, Connecticut to go back for Corps training. I am the Corps director for the state of Idaho for the Knights of Columbus, and I go around and help establish men's ministries that are organized and run by the Knights but are open to every man of the parish. And even non-Knights, they can come. They can participate. It's all Catholic content, so be prepared.
Yeah.
But it's faith, it's formation, and fellowship, and a meal. Men, you know, you like to eat, so don't worry, we'll have food.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
You won't starve, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I was tasked with this, and when I first got it, I said, oh, no, I don't want to go
Another
around.
thing to do.
Another thing to do. I already cook. I already do this. And so I didn't want to get into leadership. Let me do my thing. I'll cook. I'll do in the kitchen, you know, and I'll do that part. And then, you know, but what I found was, and what really drives me now, I'm really liking the job of being Corps director, is what I have found, that I'm not the only one out there that wants to have a deep faith, deep spiritual connection with God. I'm not out there on some little lonely island by myself. Everywhere I go, men of every different walk. And when you go to I go to the conventions because I have to give a talk on Corps. It would be the winter meetings coming up, and then I do the convention, summer meetings, and now I'm going back to Corps New Haven. And what I find is that when men get together, they pray, they worship, and they sound good when they worship, man. When we're singing Ave or something like that, it's just, the baritones and the basses and the voices, they echo. And I wish we'd just open all the doors in the hotel, let everybody hear us.
Yes.
Because
When you
it's-
go back east, will you see our friend David Fortin? Good morning, David.
He lives in Hartford. New Haven is about an hour south, and he's hoping to get some time. He's got a lot of work, so
Sure. I
hopefully-
mean, by West Coast standards, an hour away
yeah,
is like,
I know.
you could walk it.
He goes, it's so far away.
I thought
Well,
in an hour
hopefully
you could
you
be
can
halfway
connect.
across New England, to where here it
You-
takes us 2 hours to get to the
Well,
next town.
A couple hours, you hop 4 or 5.
So when I told
4 or 5
him-
colonies.
When I told him that I could start at one point of Idaho and drive to the very northern point of Idaho, and it'd still be in the state of Idaho 12 hours later, he goes, no way.
Yeah.
And then he went and measured the size of Connecticut. He goes, I can put 18 Connecticut's in the state of Idaho.
Welcome to the Inland
I
Empire.
think we learned that Rhode Island was the size of Ada and Canyon County
Yes.
combined.
So,
Anyway,
But-
go ahead.
but so I go, I see these men, I meet these men. Oh, they're officers, they're this or that. Oh, they wear suits, they're all this. But let me tell you, these guys are very devoutly faithful. It's not a show. It is, I mean, you'll walk in, they're sitting in adoration early in the morning, they're doing their rosary, and it's like, no one tells them to do this. They're not doing this for any show. This is their personal life. This is them bringing to the table everything they have and trying to drive the Knights into the next generation, driving it, keeping it going, keeping it alive, keeping it moving forward. And that fraternity that comes from it, it just gave me such a great respect that and this is what drives me.
Yeah.
This is why this is why this men's ministry was so important to me, because I knew I was such a flawed human being, such a flawed man in my own marriage. I didn't raise my kids bad. I didn't raise them great. I was a good, decent dad, but I could have been better.
Yeah.
Okay, we all can be better. And as I told you when I first started the half-hour show that we did, I would like to help prevent men from falling in the same pitfalls that I did. Going down, there was never a guide in my life. My dad was not around. My grandfather had passed when I was 16. I really had nobody but coaches and the occasional teacher that every now and then had the chutzpah to say, "Stop it, you idiot."
Yeah. There's
You
a
know?
better way.
And there's a better way. And so I didn't have that mentor. I didn't have that person. So I was like on my own trying to figure it out. And I just don't want men, young men especially, to struggle the way I did. I know there's a lot of young men that have no fathers in their lives, that grew up without a father or a grandfather, or if they did have a father, they didn't care.
Yeah.
They weren't Catholic or they didn't believe in a certain way. And so this whole ministry has all been about trying to give them, look, you can't do a whole lot in 15 minutes, but when you add a lot of 15 minutes together, you can get some things done. And it's always been about tips and points and ideas of like, this is what a man talks about. And I didn't plan this. I did not know at the time I wrote I came up with that topic last week. Dave helped me do that. Dave, it was a good job, so you're not under the bus anymore.
Kudos to David in so many
I was going to
ways.
bury him if it was bad. You know, it was all his fault.
It's
you know?
his idea. For those who may not know, this is Pat's history with Salt and Light in a nutshell. It's 10 years ago, Father Larry Richards came out for our first ever Catholic men's conference. And Pat was fired up about that because he just, shut up and be a man. That's Father Larry. From there, we did
Hurt
do
my feelings by the way.
about a year and a half, 2 years worth of half-hour shows before Morning Light came into existence. And then when it did, almost 8 years ago now, he's been a part, cornerstone really, of the Morning Light program. And you did a long series of podcasts when we first started the podcast studio.
Yes, I did.
So you have accomplished a lot in 10 years, my friend.
And this is not what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
And you wrote a book too, right?
Well, I'm writing a book. It hasn't, I'm
Okay.
writing a book. Dave keeps saying, get on it, get on it, get on
Yeah.
it. He's a nag, I tell you. Dave's a nag.
I'll join him there. Get on it,
Get
Pat.
on it.
But no, I write a column for a newspaper. I was not a good student in school. I mean, I was one of those students that just got through because of sports. And I did just enough to graduate. And
Yeah.
so
Don't let school get in the way of your education.
Yeah.
So me being a writer, I have written now for the last 10 years, at least 500 words a month for the last 10 years. I'm a published author. I'm on the radio show. Dave didn't really do anything with radio until he and I met. And now he's on 80 radio stations,
Yeah.
with his show. So, I mean, the point is, you don't know what you accomplish. Look, let me tell you, I say this all the time. I was just too stupid to know I couldn't do it. You know, it was like, how do you do it? I don't know. I was just too stupid to know I couldn't, you know? So that's what drives me. I wanted other men to experience what I've experienced, because let me tell you, it has fulfilled my life. That hole in my heart, that God emptiness has been fulfilled, and it's filled every time I do. The more I do, the more I engage. And I just want every other man out there to experience what I have, even if in a very small way, a small amount.
Well, we are going to immortalize Pat King because this promo will never go away. It's one of our favorites, and here it goes.
Have you heard Salt and Light Radio's live local morning show? Start your day the Catholic way with Morning Light, weekday mornings at 7. Here's what you're missing.
Sorry, there's an ambulance going by. They welcome everybody, and if you want tickets... Sorry,
It's very musical for an ambulance.
I thought it was an ice cream truck.
Join Hope and Brian for Morning Light, weekdays from 7 to 8 a.m. on the Salt
the
and
first
Light.
time I heard that on a promo when I was back, I was in Assisi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Standing at the top of the basilica looking at it, and this ambulance came down, and it was so loud. I was just telling Brian today, before he even saying anything, I said, I didn't even hear what these guys said on the other end. So when the first time I think I had to hear it like 5 or 6 times. Wait a minute, that's my voice.
That's your voice.
Right.
I'm going like,
That's the
oh,
ambulance.
that's the ambulance. Oh, now I see it every single
Right.
time.
Hope and I are
Oh,
cracking
funny.
jokes, and Pat didn't even hear it.
I didn't hear it.
It was
Nah,
funny.
well, they weren't that funny.
They weren't that
It
funny.
was
Yeah.
funny. Oh, so
Thank
good.
you, and please don't be a stranger. You will occasionally be back on, so
Define occasionally.
And
Yeah.
we'll warn everyone.
and
so
we'll
you
warn
know.
everybody
Oh,
long in
thanks a
advance.
lot. Yeah.
God bless you and all that you do in men's ministry, and we will talk soon.
Finally get fan letter, and there we go.
I know, 60 seconds away from news, traffic, and weather.
Salt and Light Radio is teaming up with the Diocese of Boise to bring you the Heroic Men Leadership Workshop. This one-day workshop will be held at Risen Christ Catholic Church in Boise, Saturday, October 4th between 8 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. Take your leadership to the next level, multiply the impact of ministry, and help raise disciples for Christ. Recommended donation to attend is $25 and includes a homemade pulled pork lunch. Space is limited, so secure your spot today. Get more details at saltandlightradio.com/heroicmen.
Support for Salt and Light Radio's Idaho Catholic Women's Conference comes from Gold sponsor Jordan's Garden Center and Seasonal Market. A local family-run business, Jordan's Garden Center focuses on locally sourced products such as flowers and bedding plants, as well as seasonal produce from around the valley. They source all of their fresh produce and nursery stock from local growers first. The phone number is 208-807-1231 and their website, jordansgardencenter.com.
Morning Light News time is 7:37, 71 degrees in Boise, 60 in Twin Falls, 68 up in Grangeville, Idaho Falls reporting 53. Ada County Highway District Commissioners unanimously approved the district's fiscal year 2026 budget last week, paving the way for a range of improvements to roads, sidewalks, and traffic infrastructure. The $257 million budget is set to allocate $125 million for over 100 projects throughout the county, including road widening, pedestrian improvements, and bridge designs. A full budget packet detailing the Highway District's revenues and expenditures for the coming fiscal year will be posted online once it's finalized.
Art in the Park returns this Friday to Julia Davis Park. The 3-day event is hosted by the Boise Art Museum, or BAM. The museum will welcome more than 240 artists to the Treasure Valley for the festival. Attendance is free, but art, food, and drinks are available for purchase. The event runs from 10 to 8 on Friday and Saturday, but closes at 5 on Sunday. Multiple performing artists will take the stage at the Gene Harris Bandshell. Shuttle buses to and from the park will also be available.
It's a great way to get your steps in. We look
Nice.
forward to it every year.
Nice.
Boise State returning to the Blue Friday for their first home game of the season against Eastern Washington. After a disappointing showing during their season opener in Tampa, the Eastern Washington Eagles also lost their season opener 31-21 against the University of the Incarnate Word. The last time Eastern Washington and BSU played one another was the year 2000, and the Broncos beat the Eagles 41-23. Kickoff scheduled for 7 p.m. Mountain Time this Friday at Albertson Stadium, and you can watch the game on Fox Sports 1.
We don't have a mascot for the University of the Incarnate Word.
They're the Cardinals.
The Cardinals?
Yes. My cousin's daughter played basketball for them for 3 years. They're the Cardinals, I believe.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Yes,
it's
it
not
is.
Catholic, is it?
I don't think so.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's very
It's
curious.
Christian, but it's not Catholic.
I see.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Summer weather continues to blanket the Pacific Northwest, thrusting temps into the mid-90s and low 100s. And if you're in Western Washington or the Portland area, that's really, really hot. And fueling wildfire conditions across North Idaho and Eastern Oregon, with fire weather watches and red flag warnings in effect. Despite ongoing fires in Central Oregon and Idaho, which cast a lingering smoke and haze, most of Eastern Idaho currently maintains acceptable air quality, though those with respiratory sensitivities should limit outdoor exertion. And most of the state of Idaho this morning is in the moderate category.
Excellent.
Good morning, light traffic. Let's see if our little issue on 10 Mile heading north to the freeway is still there while our map refreshes. Oh, it's a very slow refresh this morning. Looks like it is still there. An accident on 10 Mile Road heading north, but it is south of the freeway. The right-hand lane is unavailable, so merge to the left and make your way by. The freeway's just a crawl this morning from 55 in Nampa all the way through to just before Eagle Road. And as you see the Eagle Road exit coming, the skies will part, the clouds will open, the angels will sing, and you'll get where you're going. That's your morning light traffic.
Partly cloudy through Friday across the Treasure Valley. Highs mid-90s, lows upper 60s. Magic Valley, partly cloudy over the next few days. Highs 90 to 95, lows 60 to 65. Eastern Idaho, mostly sunny through Friday. Highs 80 to 85 and lows around 50. And Camas Prairie, mostly sunny skies the next few days. Afternoon highs 90 to 95 and overnight lows near 60. 64 in Meridian, 62 in Jerome. Cottonwood checking in with 66 degrees. Let's learn more about our saint of the day when we return. A new segment coming to Morning Light as we continue next.
This is Franciscan Media's Saint of the Day for September 3rd. Today we celebrate Pope St. Gregory the Great. There were plenty of early signs that Gregory was destined for greatness. As the son of a Roman senator, Gregory served the state of Rome as a young man before deciding to give away much of his property to the poor. He became a Benedictine monk and a priest, founded a number of monasteries, and served as papal nuncio to Constantinople. At age 50, he was elected pope, serving from 590 until his death in 604. As pope, Gregory was direct and firm. He removed unworthy priests from office, ransomed prisoners, and cared for persecuted Jews and the victims of plague and famine. He is known for his reform of the liturgy and for strengthening respect for doctrine. Whether or not he was largely responsible for the revision of Gregorian chant is disputed. Gregory lived in a time of perpetual strife with invading Lombards and difficult relations with the East. His book, Pastoral Care, which reflected on the duties and qualities of a bishop, was read for centuries after his death. Along with Ambrose, Jerome, and Augustine, Gregory is considered one of the great fathers of the Western Church. There's more about the saints along with inspiration and Catholic resources at our website, saintoftheday.org. From Franciscan Media, this has been Saint of the Day.
What's going on these days at Salt and Light Radio? Well, we're glad you asked. Let's shine the spotlight on some of the things happening behind the scenes at your Catholic radio station.
7:43, 17 minutes away from 8 o'clock as we wrap up Wonderful Wednesday with a new segment to Morning Light. It is Spotlight. And one of the people we'll be talking about each and every month, or talking with, I should say, is Carol Brown, our community outreach expert. And you have a litany of incredible events that that we need to spotlight for Salt and Light.
Absolutely. Happy September. Happy Wednesday. It's hard to remember that because of Labor Day. But
Yeah.
For those that don't know, every Monday at 3 o'clock, Divine Mercy Hour, there's an e-newsletter that goes out to our listening area, and it spotlights what's going on in the Catholic area. as far as your parishes, Bible studies, special events, blah, blah, blah. And occasionally we put salt and light things in. But as a radio station media communicator, we are awful about promoting our own things. It's like we're push everyone else's things. And someone said, did we get that on the radio? And it's like, oh my gosh, we did not. So we thought, a lot of people don't know everything we do. And we're Catholics in the community too, sitting in those pews. And we do want to support the parishes and help them be successful. But we thought, sometimes we should toot our own horn, and this is a reminder for us to toot our own horn. So thank you for that intro about spotlighting Salt and Light Radio. And in part of this segment, we'll also be spotlighting the Catholic community because that's what we're part of. So it's a win-win-win for everyone. So if you're not part of the weekly spotlight that gets emailed, you can go on the Salt and Light webpage and click on the spotlight and subscribe. It's a constant contact thing that comes out every Monday at 3 o'clock. And we have 4 different ones that go out because we have 4 different listening areas. So we try to specify, I'm reading all your bulletins and seeing what's going on. So I love it. And I hope you do too. And I know people are following along and they really appreciate it because frequently things that are promoted in another parish aren't in another because of space or whatever in the bulletin or miss the deadline or whatever. And so it helps you feel connected. So subscribe to the Spotlight. Part of this also, we have a podcast. Natalie Laird does a podcast for us called Desert Wanderers, and she's doing a phenomenal job with guests. And so it's a long-form podcast. So what Brian and Hope do here every morning, it's similar guests, but for a longer conversation. And that goes out once a week. And Natalie just finished a wonderful series with our seminarians. So that's on there. And she has older podcasts that you may not have listened, so just tune in and subscribe. You can find those on our Salt and Light website, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we have Libsyn and archives everything we've ever done for the past 15 years. So if you want to look on Salt and Light Radio Libsyn archive, you can find what we've done. And
our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Which you're watching right now, right?
Right? Yes, for sure.
One of Natalie's recent conversations was with Caleb Burbach, and we've had him on the show. And if you want to laugh hard, listen to that because it was hysterical and so deep. I enjoyed it so much. But the beginning, they're just kind of chatting about food, and he tells this story about gnats and fleas in the refrigerator, and it is so funny. So I encourage you, if nothing else, go for that little bit, and then when you get scrolling through, you'll notice, oh, it's Father so-and-so, or here or there. You'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, and frequently what I love about pledge drives and the radio in general is, a priest has a homily for, and I'm going to say if we're lucky, but, it depends on their length. So frequently they can't say everything they want to say because they're limited by the time of the Mass and people, but they can come on here and share stories and be more personal. And it's just, I love Catholic media in that respect. And so the long form podcast is really fun in that way. So yeah, tune in. Yeah. I've been working on, we're doing I don't know if you've heard of the Women's Conference.
Oh, is that coming up?
It is. It's on Saturday. And so it's actually 2 conferences that are happening. We have the in-person aspect that's at Holy Apostles, and then we have the online virtual aspect where we have close to 200 women that are not in Meridian, but they're all over the diocese and sometimes the world. And so we have to we want it to be a really good experience for them as well. And so I gave Natalie the really difficult task of finding really good clips of Desert Wanderers to include. So we have something called bumpers. So while all the ladies in Meridian are eating lunch or visiting the exhibitor hall, that the women at home can be entertained a little bit too. And so Natalie's been taking these clips of Desert Wanderers and some morning light clips and things. And poor girl, that's a lot of content to go through to find some really good stuff. So she's...
especially our show. You got to pour through days to find something good.
That's not true. It's from finding the best of the best is hard.
The cream of the crop.
Yeah. So anyway, so if you have not yet registered because you said, oh man, it's sold out, ladies, you can watch it online and not feel excluded. So hear what the bishop has to say to the women in the Diocese of Boise. He celebrates Mass. He always gives a lovely homily, and hear what the women. It's like a family reunion every year. So if we open that registration July 15th every year, July 15th. And there are women that have alarms set, and we sell out rapidly. So we get the emails in August that say, hey, I think there's something wrong with your website because it says I can't register for in person. It's like, no, I'm sorry. It's sold out like 4 weeks ago. And gobsmacked. They're like, what?
Yeah.
So you have to do it quickly. So, but it's not too late for virtual people. And we have eight watch parties. I want to say 9. The 9th one is private. It's in a retirement home, which is lovely. This 92-year-old woman is coordinating this watch party for her fellow sisters. So we're doing a little, making it easier for her to accomplish that. But isn't that lovely? She's just a go-getter, and she wants to evangelize to her fellow peers in the nursing home. So anyway, and speaking of the women's conference, men, please pray for these ladies. It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day to renew and refresh. And we can use those prayers. And we could also use some manpower. If you're in the Meridian Holy Apostles area, or if you want to come for the day with your wife, if she's traveling from out of town, and help us, be a greeter, help serve food. In a special, particular way, we seem to be really short on cleanup.
What's that?
Frequently, sometimes when people sign up for cleanup, they forget because they've had this lovely, lovely day, and they want to go home.
Yeah.
And so if you're in the area, the conference itself ends at 3. We're having a wonderful wine and chocolate reception at Holy Apostles. So around 3:34, we rally the crews to start cleaning up. And we really rather not the women do it.
Right.
After having this lovely, lovely day. It usually ends up being Hope Ryan's family and Carol Brown's family and Angela Athas' family that are there vacuuming. We try to beat the Saturday Vigil at Holy Apostles and get out of there by 6 p.m. So one year we did it at 5, so some of us could go to the Vigil Mass. So that's like always the goal, but usually we're there till 6. But anyway, if you are around and want to do a work of mercy, please come and help us. Men, come help us, greet, smile. And if you remember the men's conference, we have over 100 women there helping you with your day. And so we're just a little short, and I don't want to beg, but it does help us make a better day. And the ladies love seeing the men serve. It's like a gift.
It's true.
I know my wife does.
Yes.
Watch me serve. Before we run out of time, when you shared this idea with me a few weeks ago, I thought it was brilliant. But this is a one-day pilgrimage that Salt and Light Radio is sponsoring, and it's just
Absolutely.
a great idea. And people are just jumping on board everywhere.
Yes. So I have an ambassador program, and that's representatives in every parish. And we get together and we brainstorm, how can we be better? How can we be better about evangelizing about the radio station, and them in turn evangelizing and letting us know what's going on in their parishes on the radio. But one of the ideas came up, hey, it's a Jubilee year. What can we do? And so I have ambassadors from, Cottonwood, Grangeville, KGVI group. We decided to travel on I-84, and we're going east. So St. Joseph's Chapel in Pocatello is a Jubilee site. I know there's one in Lewiston too, but we decided to go to I-84. So we're starting at the Jubilee Cross at St. John's, and this is on Friday, September 19th. It's a Jubilee Day pilgrimage. And Father Johannes is our spiritual director for Salt and Light Radio. He'll be our spiritual guide for that day. So it's a day trip, and you can carpool, caravan, do whatever. And as we go, even if you live in Grangeville, Cottonwood, you can come and join us and travel around southern Idaho for the day. We're praying, it's like a progressive rosary. We're praying a rosary at these different parishes. And if you want to stop, we're starting at the cathedral, 8:05. We're going to start first decade. Then we go to Glens Ferry, Our Lady Limerick, when they're super duper excited. They're going to have adoration, and Father's going to have reconciliation available there. Then we go to Hagerman, St. Catherine's. A lot of people have never been in these little churches, and the community is very excited. Open doors ready for us. We'll pray a decade at St. Catherine's. Then Father Shio at St. Catherine's and Hagerman, he's going to caravan with us to St. Edward's, where Father Joseph Lustig and several other priests are offering confessions. We're there for 90 minutes for lunch, adoration, rosary, reconciliation, getting that indulgence for the Jubilee year. And so if you're from the Magic Valley and you don't want to, you could start in Glens Ferry, Hagerman, whatever, or just come to Twin Falls, be part of this adoration, and then go with us. Rupert Burley area, our ultimate goal, if you want to do the calculations, is to be at 3 p.m. at St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Pocatello, the Jubilee site, for Divine Mercy Chaplet, and then a Mass, and then we have final blessing. And then you're free to be whatever you want to do. We have an option. St. Anthony's Church there in Pocatello has a relic of St. Anthony's for veneration, and they're also offering dinner, or you can go home, or the monastery in Jerome has offered lodging for our pilgrims as well. So find more at the website, saltandlightradio.com/pilgrimage.
All right.
Wow.
Woo.
That is a lot.
That's a lot.
Take a
It's
breath.
actually /Jubilee.
Jubilee,
is
thank
where
you.
you're going to find it.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a minute left. So, again, Spotlight, a couple times a month, we'll share a small clip of a much larger interview from Desert Wanderers. Carol will join us once or twice a month to kind of walk through some of the upcoming events. We also want to shine a spotlight once in a while on our Beacon of Light sponsors who bring you the programming that you enjoy here, day in, day out on Salt and Light Radio. So we want to give them some love as well. But we are very busy behind the scenes here at your Catholic radio station. And we have a pledge drive right around the corner that Carol is also working diligently on, along with our parish ambassadors. So thank you for all the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm super excited. Tune in on Friday. Rita Franklin is launching the new Blessed and Beautiful season.
Nice.
I met with these ladies. Super exciting.
Excellent. All right. That is Spotlight as we wrap up this wonderful Wednesday edition of Morning Light. And more changes coming Monday, so make sure you're listening on September 8th.
Awesome changes. Awesome.
Visit saltandlightradio.com and click on the Morning Light page. Search segments if you missed any of today's great show or previous programs.
Watch the show on YouTube. Please download the Salt and Light Radio app before you head out anywhere, particularly if you're stuck in traffic. Visit saltandlightradio.com for everything you need to know about all of our upcoming events. Click under Resources. Thank you to our guests today, Teresa Zepeda, Pat King, and Carol Brown.
Tomorrow, Vocations Focus, Jim and Mary Ellen Nurse will talk with Jay Wanacott. Sacred music provided by Chris Foster from St. Mark's. And Mary Wax moves to Thursdays, and she will tell us why Catholics do that.
So please join us tomorrow at 7 for a new and shifted Thankful Thursday edition of Morning Light. St. Maximilian Kolbe,
pray for us. St. Gregory the Great, pray for us.
Hi, this is David Fortin from